2018 is finally here, and with it comes a slew of new games to look forward to. With several big-name titles slated, or expected to be slated, to come out this year, we're going to take a look back at all the great moments gaming brought to me this past year. Greetings and salutations everyone, my name is Featherhoof, and today we'll be counting down the top 5 games I played in 2017. Note that this is a highly subjective list of games I actually played, so if you don't see your favorite game here, then I probably didn't play it. Some quick rules for the list. 1. No remakes or remasters. 2. No expansions or DLCs. And 3. No early access games. Only fully released, standalone games that came out in the year 2017. 2017 was such a great year for gaming, so which one stood out for me throughout the year? Well, let's find out.
Number 5.
I actually talked about this game on the very first episode of the very first full Let's Play I did on this channel. I have been waiting for Cuphead for quite a while, and my patience was rewarded. Smooth frame rate, tight controls, and a steep, yet learnable, difficulty curve makes this game one of the most fun and simultaneously challenging games I played this year. If I had to knock it for anything, its simple story with no deeper look into the world that's apparently populated by giant queen bees, dragons, anthropomorphic vegetables, and people with cups for heads, among others, sometimes leaves you feeling nothing for the characters you're defeating, to steal their souls, to give to the devil, to pay off your gambling debts, as, after many deaths to certain ones, all you want to do is finish it so you can just be done with it. But that's easily overlooked while you're staring at the game's absolutely beautiful and charming art style and listening to its fun and energetic soundtrack. Seriously, even if the gameplay wasn't fun, which it is, Cuphead is worth the visit for its visuals and sound alone. If you have the time and haven't tried it yet, give it a shot.
Number 4.
Releasing at the end of January after a rather enticing demo released in 2016, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard squeaks into the number 4 position after it nearly entirely reinvents the Resident Evil formula, all the while still falling to some of the series' downfall and making new ones all of its own. The shift to first person takes the series' already creepy atmosphere to an even more terrifying height. The Baker family is one of my favorite video game families and villains I've ever come across, and the ability to make a choice that'll affect the outcome of the ending are all excellent features. The game did suffer from the Resident Evil shift, where 2/3 of the way through the game, where it stops being about atmosphere and scares, and the solution to everything just becomes shoot it. The game felt like it sent you mixed messages when something could and could not be killed, and suffered from some conveyance issues in my opinion. And the end boss was so lackluster that the game felt right on par with masterpieces like the original BioShock, an amazing journey with a rather poor finale. What definitely saves this game, however, is that it was continually supported throughout the year. DLC came out few and far between, but they were great standalone stories, backstories, prologues, and even post-game content. Each DLC took the formula of the main game, twisted it just a little bit so it always felt fresh and new, and you wanted to come back for more. Plus, with several challenges to come back and play the game over again to unlock new items and weapons for the campaign, it definitely had me coming back to experience it several times.
Number 3.
The prequel sequel to the lackluster Tales of Zestiria, Tales of Berseria, proved itself to be both a departure from the norm in terms of storytelling from the other Tales games and a vast improvement on its predecessor. Releasing the exact same day as Resident Evil 7 here in the US, Berseria quickly shed any fears I initially had going into it. The story has you playing the villains, or at least that's how they're perceived, and also sports the series' first solo female protagonist, Velvet. She is quite upfront with the fact that saving the world is only a happy coincidence and side effect of the fact that all she wants is revenge against the game's antagonist. All the characters, with but a possible exception of Laphicet, are awful people to some degree. They're often selfish, they make mistakes and bad choices, and that makes them far more relatable and memorable than Sorey and his mostly bland crew in Zestiria. Edna and Zavid, you'll always have a special place in my heart despite your boring traveling companions. Back to Berseria, however. It's not without its flaws. From often overused anime and Tales game tropes, to several flaws and plot holes in the storytelling. I also personally found the majority of the game to be really easy, even on both normal and hard difficulties. While it does have many callbacks to Zestiria, the developers made sure that you could still play it without any Zestiria knowledge. But if you had played Zestiria, there's nods all over the place for you to pick up on. So it's friendly to both veterans and newcomers alike. With that kind of openness and plenty of hours of fun combat, exploration, minigames, and characters and a story to get invested in, Tales of Berseria definitely deserves to be remembered as a great game of 2017.
Number 2.
2017 saw the launch of the Nintendo Switch, and it quickly proved itself to be an amazing system. But what's a great system without great games to play it on? In comes the system's biggest name launch title, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Unlike every podcast and website I read, Breath of the Wild is not my number one. And I'll explain why first, right here. This is a subjective list of games and things in games that I like. So when games contain things I'm not a fan of course, I'm going to knock it a few points. Firstly, the open world. Like all open world games, it's vast, littered with secrets and lore, and incredibly empty, dead, and boring to traverse through in my opinion. There's horseback riding to speed up your travels by a bit, but once you've unlocked Revali's Gale, the glider, and a few teleport points, they're rendered completely obsolete. I also despise the weapon breaking system. Yes, there is nothing more irritating or annoying than you're in the middle of a hard fight and your big badass weapon just shatters on you. You can't upgrade cosmetic gear, making them absolutely pointless. The menu is a pain to use, and the lack of traditional style dungeons and storytelling makes this feel very little like a Zelda game, a property I've grown up loving. All that being said, however, this game is gorgeous given the power of the systems it was released on. The open world, while I find it to be dead and mostly boring to traverse, does have these points where you can just see the history of the world. The sparse use of music is also a genius move, and what music there is sounds amazing. Combat in the game is also a joy, requiring strategy and reading enemies' moves and tells and knowing when to block, dodge, or attack, rather than just flailing your weapon until it dies. And the scattering of Korok seeds and shrines all over the world for you to discover means you're always on the hunt for something new. This reinvention of a series I've loved for a very, very long time has introduced things I'm not a fan of, and never will be a fan of, much like Ocarina of Time adding cutscenes for opening of chests. But despite these mechanics, I still found myself coming back to the game time and again, and it's definitely one of the best of the year. Before we get to my number one, however, let's look back at those honorable mentions I played in 2017 and were definitely worth remembering.
core crystal turn into a weapon?
That is how blades are born.
I cannot allow them to continue with their current course. Burning Sword! The enemy hatty!
Number 1.
Seeing as it wasn't on this list already, I'm sure you guessed it by now. Super Mario Odyssey is my absolute favorite game of 2017. Returning to the sandbox world style of play of Super Mario 64, Odyssey adds in possibly one of my favorite mechanics in the new character, Cappy. Being able to capture and possess enemies and NPCs and use their powers and abilities was an absolute delight. It added a whole new dimension to solving puzzles, collecting moves, and traversing the environments. If there are any negatives to mention, I suppose the story is as basic as they come. But it's a Mario game. It's never been known for its story. The game also starts off insultingly easy, but it does ramp up as the game goes, and perhaps too much so come the end of the game and even the post-game content. That's not a problem for me. I love a challenge, but I've heard this being grumbled about here and there around the internet. And possibly its worst offense, there are probably too many moves. They're practically giving them to you. I'm surprised there wasn't one for jumping a number of times. Oh, wait! Some are even just simply sitting out in the open saying, "Here I am, come and collect me." I mean, if they had taken out these all too easy moons and left in only those that required some skill on your part, the moon collecting would feel more rewarding and memorable. Those criticisms, however, do not take away from how beautiful the game looks and runs, both in docked and handheld mode, the fun and upbeat music, the clever designs of the puzzles and worlds, its new mechanics, and its pick up and put down nature of the game. It's easy to pick it up, collect a few moons, and put it back down. It's something fun you can keep coming back to, and you will, for a very long time if you're like me and a completionist. This game wasn't an experience, this game wasn't a journey, it wasn't a grand epic, it was a game. A beautifully crafted and incredibly fun game, with secrets, challenges, and collectibles that will keep you coming back, if nothing else, just to completely unlock every moon, costume, sticker, and souvenir, and to listen to that game's theme, Jump Up Superstar, just one more time. And there you have it, my top 5 favorite games I played in 2017. Do you agree or disagree with my list or anything else I said? Let me know in the comments below along with your favorite games of 2017. For now, however, as we wait for 2018's greats to start rolling out, I'm going to end this episode here. If you enjoyed it, let me know with a like, comment, subscribe, share it, or you can click on the annotations for other videos I've done. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.